Ah yes, the age-old question. Who should win a season of Drag Race? All Stars 10 is a very special case, since it's the season with the largest cast, but with the second fewest amount of competitive episodes. The queens competing in the finale will have all competed in only 6 episodes each once the season ends. The last time we saw this was in the first ever season of Drag Race, but All Stars 1 also had only 5 competitive episodes. The criteria that I often use will be harder to apply now with this format, but I think we can all make it work. I didn't do the prediction of who will win the season after 4 episodes as I usually do, because but also the format makes it very hard to judge, since for 3 episodes a queen will compete in one group of queens, and then for another 3 episodes with another group of queens, completely changing the dynamic. Also, I will not be talking about spoilers for the finale, as on one hand, I don't know them, nor do I want to know them, and on the other, I respect you guys enough not to spoil a future episode. However, given the outrage in the fandom that almost as a rule does read spoilers, I think we all know who is going to be winning the season. If you would like to help the channel, since YouTube hates its creators, you can like this video or dislike it, leave a comment, and of course, make sure you're subscribed. You can also become a member of the channel, and I want to thank all of these people here who have become members of the channel so far. They have seen this video before the rest of you, and they already have other videos to watch. Some of those videos being channel exclusive content. You already know how we do this. 3 categories with an asterisk category of beating or taking advantage of the twist that can overwrite all the other categories. The first category asks, who was the best competitor? Meaning, who out of the 7 queens left performed the best in the competition? Technically, it is going to be 8 queens, but an eliminated queen that's brought back is never winning a season, so we won't even be considering Mistress or Carrie. Although, just a side note, I think it's going to be Carrie as like a final beatdown of the villain in Mistress and as a way to give Carrie a hero send-off. But then again, her return is production meddling, but then again, so are the 3 eligible winners' positions in the competition, so never mind. This is the first season where we won't be using PP scores or points per episode scores to rank the queens. Instead, we have to use percentages, meaning what percentage of maximum amount of points a queen had earned in the season. I have already explained how to do that in my previous video, so let's just watch that for a second. You might think that it's going to be tricky to rank the queens based on their track records, but it's not hard at all. Anytime in the past we would compare queens' track records from different formats, we would use percentages, as in percentages of how many points each queen had earned of the possible maximum, with the maximum being a track record where a queen places the highest in every episode she competes in. What we can do is just calculate the percentage for the first 3 episodes, and then the percentage for the next 3 episodes, and then compare the means of the 2 values. The format for the first 3 episodes is the safe to win format. Since I don't have the time now to explain to you that, for example, even though Cynthia finished episode 3 with 9 points, she earned 0% of the maximum amount of points she could have earned. I am just going to adapt the point system so that it is clearer. So we will do 0 points for safe, 1 point for high, 2 points for top 2, and 3 points for win. Now, you might say that here mini challenges are worth more than originally, and you would be very correct. Originally, they represented not even 20% of the maximum score per episode, but now they represent 33%. Double the original amount. However, this does not change the ranking, and after the 10th episode, the mini challenges further get neutralized due to Irene's safe placement. Therefore, for the first 3 episodes, the maximum amount of points a queen could have earned is 9, and that is our 100% for the first 3 episodes. For the second batch of episodes, the format is the regular season's 0 to 5 format, and the maximum will end up being 15. We calculate the first percentage, then the second, we add them together, divide by 2, and we get our final score. Somebody did ask why I don't look at percentages individually, like per episode what percentage of points someone had earned, and the answer is that it won't be fair for the people that don't get eliminated, because the eliminated queens would have higher scores than they realistically should have. Points will be given in the finale as well, as these queens will be competing. All Stars don't always follow the same rules as regular seasons, but we can still take out some queens from the running just to make our job easier. Let's be real, nobody that was below the safe placement in episode 10 or 11 should be able to win. So we can immediately disregard Lydia and Aja. Honestly, I do also doubt that Daya or Irene could win the season, since they placed safe both times in the second part of the season, and the focus of the season has been too much on Bosco, Ginger, and Georges. which is a problem since those three queens got the most favoritism in their respective brackets. I guess those three took advantage of the format, so sure, they won that one, but let's answer the first category: who has the best track record? It's Ginger. She has earned almost 90% of all of the points she could have earned this season. However, was she the most consistent queen? Let's see who was the highest placing queen the most times in the season. Meaning, each episode queens earn points, therefore each episode there is a queen or a couple of queens with the highest amount of points. We're gonna check who had the most points the most times. For the first 3 episodes, it's easy. We just compare the queen scores. Once we introduce the second portion of the season, we have to look at percentages. However, it's not that hard, it's not that crazy. I think you already know the answer to this category as well. We've had 4 different queens be in the top here. 3 of them did it only for 1 episode, while the winner did it in 4 episodes. The queens in question are Aja and Lydia first, who had the biggest score in their respective first episodes. And then it was Irene who had the highest score after the 3rd competitive episode of her bracket, but also out of all of the brackets. The winner of this category had the highest amount of points in episodes 1, 2, 4, and 5, and it's, of course, Ginger Minj. So she wins the second category as well. The last category asks, who had the best storyline? The thing is, with so few individual episodes queens appear in and 18 queens to work with, it's kinda hard for the producers to give us a good story. But there were some good moments here. The biggest storyline of the season was about Mistress being a villain who got defeated because she was not good in the competition, and she needed to rely on the production and strategy to advance. She was put into a conflict with Ginger in episode 10, although that conflict was pretty one-sided, as Ginger did not want to hear any of it. Ginger wins that episode and Mistress is almost eliminated. But she does end up being eliminated in the next episode, with the villain of the season being eliminated by her protege in Lydia, who also had a good story, but not a competition or edit presence to back her up. Ginger and Georges' stories are also about them being really good in the competition, which is a good storyline, but neither of them had a moment of weakness. All-Stars winners in the past did have these moments where they dominate the competition, but then have one episode where they almost go home. Think of Chad, Alaska, or Trinity. However, queens who are simply good at the competition are not really liked by the production, and that's the main problem with Georges and Ginger. Another problem is the fact that the two of them, but also Bosco, like I said, were the main queens benefiting from the production meddling. The meddling being which challenges were chosen for the season. If we look outside this technical top 3, Irene is the closest to having a good storyline. She was the first eliminated on her season, and then she dominated her bracket. Had she just had one high placement in the second portion of the season, she could have taken the crown, but I don't see it happening. And Daya has been pretty much invisible, so what do we do? Listen, I'm gonna say this. If Bosco gets to the top 2 in the finale, she will have the best storyline of the season, because her biggest weakness was always performing. However, I will again give this category to Ginger. She lost her first season because her visual presentation was not that great, and even though she did dominate the season, she still was not fully ready. She wasn't ready for All-Stars 2 either, because it filmed right after she learned that she did not win season 7, but then on All-Stars 6, when she was very much so ready alongside Raja, and when the two of them pretty much dominated the competition, neither of them got the win because Ru had to present himself as not transphobic. Die in a ditch if you think otherwise. Like, genuinely, at this point, stop pretending that that was not the case. Raja got her apology win on a Versus the World season, so let's give Ginger the crown now as an apology, and also as a way to enrage the children. So yes, I think Ginger should win the season. All-Stars 10 felt like a test run for this format, which was mostly successful and enjoyable, but I think we can all agree that the amount of favoritism for specific queens was not a good call. Favoritism happens in every season, but when each queen only appears for only 6 episodes, the favoritism is much more noticeable. It also doesn't help that each bracket had at least one queen that received favoritism, so we were just constantly bombarded by obvious production meddling. Let's just crown Ginger and end the season.